Participant, the files are again uploaded to your OneDrive. You can check in the chat box and then you can download the files. See, files right now it is not necessary. It is just for your practice and so that you can follow along also. You can keep the files aside and you can concentrate on the webinar. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So we'll start now. Let others join. So the PPT is visible. The screen is visible now. PPT.
Yes, sir.
Right. Thank you. Hello everyone. On this, I welcome you all on behalf of Sona School of Management for the webinar on cohort analysis using Microsoft Excel. And I am the speaker of the day as well as I am the webinar curator. I used to send invites to your email. And this is about me. I have close to 16 years of experience. I am working as an assistant professor in Sona School of Management. Predominantly, I handle accounting and finance for our MBA students. And then my technical expertise includes business intelligence, specifically self-service BI tools, self-service business intelligence tools like Power BI, Tableau, Click, and I am a qualified Click business analyst. And then predominantly, I have used Microsoft Excel in all my teaching, all my subjects. So I kind of like fascinated about Microsoft Excel. I tend to use Microsoft Excel in all my classes. Right, and this is about me. And we'll start the session. Before starting the session, we'll look into the discussion points. See, the discussion points will be like this. Part of 15 to 20 minutes will be your theoretical part to understand what is a cohort analysis. And then we'll be going on with a demo on building a cohort analysis for a simple sales data of a retail store. And finally, we'll end up with creating a dashboard, right? And this cohort analysis will be looking into meaning, factors, difference and types, and cohort analysis to improve retention. And basically, finance kind, this is the first time I'm engaging myself in a marketing analytics. And let's see how it works out. And then in Excel, in the demo, we'll be using formulas, a couple of formulas, and we'll be using a technique called as conditional formatting. We'll be using pivot tables, we'll be using charts, heat maps, and we'll be developing a simple dashboard. A simple dashboard to understand how this cohort analysis works, right? And into the topic now, cohort analysis. See, very simple cohort analysis is like it is used to study the behavior or outcomes associated with a group of people over time. You can see it in the picture, how customers are retained for our product. And first month, there are a lot of customers. Second month, the customers are reduced. And third month, much reduced. And finally, in the fourth month, you can see by the end of month 4, customers are gradually reduced. It helps to understand the retention rate of customers over a period of time. How many customers are coming for a repeated purchase after the day or the month of our product or service offering is introduced, right? And this is cohort analysis to understand the time frame in which we are retaining our customers. In common business use, the cohort analysis is most often used to study the customer retention. A cohort is a group of customers or subjects that have a common characteristic. These cohorts can be determined by the date at which they joined our company. They joined our website. They became a customer of our product. They are classified based on their age, their demographic factors, or any other attribute that could be used to group a set of individuals. It is then assumed that something about the cohort drives certain behavior over time. See, cohort analysis to be understood in a simple language. See, you have a customer for a first time purchase. And when he is coming for a second time purchase, if he is making a repeated purchase, then he is a loyal customer. If he is not, he is a lost customer. To understand how many customers we have retained, how many customers we have lost, is the purpose of cohort analysis that we'll be doing with an example. And how cohort analysis helps your business. Please bear with me. This theoretical part will take another 15 minutes to complete, so that you will be comfortable in while we are solving the exercise in the Excel. This cohort analysis is often overlooked because it can yield insightful information to improve acquisition claim, retention, and monetization, especially in the business. By analyzing the behavioral differences between the cohorts, the product managers can spot patterns at multiple stages in the customer lifecycle. This cohort analysis helps company to grow and improve its service in the market, providing the right product at the right time. Suppose, for example, you can see it in the picture. You can see some creams. See, I'm not an endorser for the creams. I just took this picture from Google. You have a cosmetic store. We take an example. You have a cosmetic store, and your customer purchases a SPF cream, SPF sun protection factor cream containing BB. I'm not very much familiarized with this term, of course, right? A customer purchases an SPF sun protection factor cream containing BB cream at a discount of 40%. You as an owner of the brand, you ask your store manager to keep track on people, to retain them and see what value they are contributing to the company. Now, after 3 months, you come out with an attractive offers and ask your store manager to look through people who purchased the product during the discount offers. By the way, the number of users who visited during the discount season, that specific season, the specific time frame is called a cohort. This is how you should analyze your customers. Then how to fix this cohort analysis scenario? The same example we can take. You can make out conclusions from the above scenario. Like the customers did not turn up because they were not interested in your products. They forgot about the discounts and the vast amount of information in your flyers and pamphlets. You probably did not run retargeting advertisements right at the end of the discounted season to remind them to buy more of your product if the users are interested. Some customers do not buy your products due to extra shipping costs, so that you can target such customers or such consumers with free shipping campaigns. So this cohort analysis, as a owner of a brand or as a owner of a store, will help you to on two concerns. One, the retargeting ad. When your product is introduced, and after some period of time, you should make them remember that your product is in the market. So you should create a retargeting ad during the lifetime of the product and the consumer. And then free shipping campaigns. These free shipping campaigns help to improve your conversion rate for those groups, and most importantly, in all groups in future. Right. The cohort analysis will help to identify several factors that impact user behavior, especially the target audience. Who are all going to be the target audience when you introduce your product? See, even before cohort analysis, we would have segmented our customers, and then only we would have introduced our product. But this gives a more crystal clear explanation and focus on the target audience, the ad content you need to develop, the channels and the campaigns and experiments, website redesigns, new product lines and offerings, service offerings, sales discounts, promotional campaigns, and how to re-engage users and devise your remarketing strategy for the purpose of improving your customer retention or your customer base, right? See, cohort is often confused with segment. See, cohort is a subset of segment. It is not a segment. It is used interchangeably, but both are completely different. All users perform common events at the same time. Time is an important factor in cohort, and cohort is a subset of segment. And in segment, the segment is based on almost every condition as a basis that is not event or time based, while segmenting a user. This cohort will have normally it is classified into three types of cohorts: time-based cohorts, segment-based cohorts, and finally size-based cohorts. Predominantly, cohorts is always time-based, but you can find cohorts within a segment based on certain characteristics. You can see that when it is a time-based cohorts, as the name denotes, time-based cohorts denote identifying customer behavior who complete sales within a particular time frame depending upon the company's sales cycle. That is a time-based cohort. And this time-based cohorts will also helps the company to understand the customer churn over a period of time. You can see how the customers enter and leave your business. That can be understood by making this cohort analysis. And there are segment-based cohorts. These segment-based cohorts always targets your past customers. This is divided on the basis of what they signed up for. For example, you are running a yoga you are delivering some yoga courses. A customer A signed up for a basic level of yoga course, and customer B signed up for a basic and advanced level of yoga. So both belong to the same segment but different cohorts. So both the customers might have different needs. Therefore, dividing them according to the needs or any factors, or depending upon the other factors depending upon the company. So this is how the segment-based cohorts will work. And finally, size-based cohorts. Say, am I audible? I'm just speaking on. Yes, I'm audible.
Sir, you're audible.
Right. So it is not. So I cannot share the files right now to your email. One of the participants has posted a comment. I'll just after completing this webinar, I'll post all the files to your email. Please, till then, please, we'll go ahead with this. Right. This is size-based cohorts, and then we'll understand. And this is a complete cohort analysis for an app launch. App is just like an Android app or an iOS app. You can look into the picture. The cohort is here is classified based on days, and the users represents the registration on each day. Day 0 represents the 100% of the users, and then day 1, day 2, day 3, and up to day 10 represents the number of users retained on each day. For example, our app is launched on January 26. So January 26, we have an active registrations of 1,358. That is 100%. Out of these 1,358 users, day 1 we have retained 31.1% users, and 18.6% of the users came back to our app on day 2, and 14.3 on day 3. Likewise, this is the retention over your user lifetime. And then vertically, you can see that is the retention over product lifetime. Okay, right? The most powerful function of cohort analysis is to see how customers leave, and when they leave, you can start analyzing the reason for their leave by digging the cohort information, and in the process, trying to fix all the loopholes. See, there is a product lifetime as depicted vertically down in the table. Comparing different cohorts at the same stage in their life cycle, we can see what percentage of the people in a cohort are coming back to app after 3 days and so on. The yearly lifetime months can be linked to, see, initially when you're launching the app, normally the early adopters will have a lot of customers in yearly, after a couple of days or after 3 or 4 days, they tend to get reduced. So when you have a yearly lifetime months, that can be linked to quality of your onboarding experience in the app, and as well as the performance of customer success team, how your customer success team is performing. And you can see the horizontally, the user lifetime. User lifetime, as depicted horizontally to the right of the table, you can see the long-term relationship with people in any cohort. See, January 26, the people who are joined and number of users registered for the product for the app is 1,358, and day 7 you still retain 12.9% of the customers. It looks like the long-term relationship with the people in any cohort to ascertain how long people are coming back and how strong or how valuable that cohort is. This can be presumably linked to something like the quality of your product, operations, and the customer support that you offer to your customers, right? And how to read a cohort analysis. See, this is the most important thing. See, you can look into the picture, the PPT, the conversion month, the new customers, number of retained customers in a month, that is A1. Picture represents number of customers retained in a month in terms of count, and B1 represents in terms of percentage. So that's a different thing. So you can see the number 1, March 2013, you can see it in the screen. We have 105 new customers on the month of March 2013. And then of those 105 customers in March 2013 cohort, 98 were still paying customers in May 2013. You can see May 2013, 98 is circled. So out of 105 customers, 98 customers were still paying for the product, are still using the app in May 2013. This is a very successful, very high retention. You can see even after 3 months, you can see your customers are retained in your business, right? And then at the end of July, you can see we have a total of 697 paying customers. So this is how you need to understand, and you need to read your cohort analysis, and we'll see. See, there normally when companies, there are when it's a large scale company, they go in for SAP or other ERPs. There are some small size for MSMEs and small size companies. There are customized ERPs that are available, which is built in with cohort analysis. And this, they also calculate other marketing metrics in terms of marketing analytics. However, we'll be using the simple basic will let you to understand the mechanics behind this analytics. See, we'll be using MS Excel, which is one of the most powerful tool that is used in business to understand and allow us to self-calculate these metrics. Like, we are going to use the Excel with an example, and then we will calculate the same picture as we are seeing now. Okay, this picture we are seeing now, that we will be using it, and then we will be creating a dashboard. Right? I'm going to the Excel demo, and so all you need is patience, as usual. I used to say in my every presentation. See, make sure that if you are having an Excel, if you are downloaded the file, your Excel version should be 2013 or later, because certain features of the file will not work in the inferior versions. So make sure that your file Excel version is about 2013. And this is the basics of Excel. Excel, a single worksheet from 2013. A single worksheet consists of 1 million rows, to be very precise, 10,48,576 rows and 16,384 columns. Rows are called as records in Excel, and columns are called as columns run vertically, and this that is used for variables, naming the variables, right? And when you, the last column name in Excel is XFB. XFB is the last column in the name. And when you're entering data in your Excel, you need to understand there are three rules while you're setting up your data. See, there are three types of data: structured data, semi-structured data, and unstructured data. See, always we used to have, in an urgency, we'll build some data and we'll send it along. But to make an analysis, you should make sure that your data should be well formatted for analysis. I'll show you how to format your data, right? And the most important thing is like the data should be, the three rules in Excel is like, the data should be only in vertical form with the headers in place, and there should not be any empty rows or empty columns inside your data. Empty cell is allowed, and also your data should not contain any manual totals. These are the most three fundamental rules that you should understand while you are setting up your database in Excel, right? And I'm closing the presentation right now here. I'll be opening the Excel sheet. Excel sheet. Is my screen visible?
No, sir. Yes, sir. No, sir.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. You're audible now, sir.
Yes. Thank you. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Right. Thank you. So now we'll be working on the sheet. I'm going to share the sheet now. Yes, screen share. Please check you are able to see the Excel sheet, how to do cohorts on a spreadsheet.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now see, listen. And this is the Excel sheet that I am going to solve this example of a retail store. See, I'd like to credit Mr. Emmy Johnson. Actually, I came across this article in the medium.com, so that I improvised certain. He gave a version of his own cohort analysis, and I added something to the version, and then I put it in my webinar. So Emmy Johnson, and he used this data from database test data. I'll share the website so that you can generate random data for your any analysis. I'll share the website now. Database testdata.com. My screen is visible now. You can see the website.
Yes.
Database testdata.com is a website that allows you to generate random database for any of your analysis. So this particular data is generated from this particular website. Of course, it is a little bit of manipulated data. So we may not get the expected results, but of course, you can use this website to generate data for any of your analytics. And then there is also another website that is called as Mockaro. MOCKAROO.com, Mockaro.com. This website also serves the same purpose. You can generate your own database, and then you can use it in your you can use it in your analytics. Yes, database testdata.com and Mockaro.com. These are the two websites that allows you to create random databases, right? So over to the Excel demo. I'm going to the Excel demo. Yes. Now my screen is visible. My Excel screen is visible.
Sir.
Yes. Thank you. So,
Sir.
yes. Now you can see this is the data that is this is a random generated data from the particular website, right? You can see there are few variables: customer ID, date. These are the two things that is very important when you are doing a cohort analysis: customer ID and a date. See, make sure that your data runs vertically. That is the first and foremost thing that you should understand when you are creating a database in Excel. See, I'm to look at how many records your database has. What will you do? You need not scroll your mouse. Just press Control down arrow. When you press Control down arrow, automatically it takes you to the last record. This is the reason why I asked you to not to have any empty rows or empty columns in Excel when you are creating a database. Because when you have an empty row, automatically your cursor will place above the empty row. Then you will not be able to understand what is your last data that is entered. When you press Control down arrow, it takes you to the last record in your Excel. Now I'm supposed to go back to my first record. I'm just pressing Control Home. I'm pressing Control Home. When I press Control Home, it always takes me to the first record. Okay, so I have a record that is vertical database that is called as a customer ID and date. The most important thing when you are creating a cohort analysis is like you should be having a customer ID, date. These are two fundamental things. Apart from that, you may also have the bill value or the products purchased. I'll tell you what is the purpose of bill value and products purchase at the end of the presentation. We can do two more analysis using these particular factor. Now we'll just focus on cohort analysis. Now what I'm going to do is like, first thing, I'm going to sort this customer ID. Customer ID is the unique value that we offer to every customer who walks into your retail store. Normally, the customer, other than customer ID, what is the unique factor? You'll be having a mobile number or your email ID. These two things will be a unique factor. And this is the date of purchase. Date is 8/8/2014. Okay, this is the date of purchase. Now, first thing what I'm going to do is like I'm going to sort the customer ID. The first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort the customer ID. How I'm going to do this? I'm pressing Control Shift down arrow, right arrow. See, I'm doing it once again. I'm going to the first record. Okay, first record. See, there is a filter option that is available here. This filter button. Okay, how to activate and deactivate filter button? When you press Control Shift and L, your filter is activated and deactivated. This is a toggle mode, toggle key. Likewise, I don't need a filter button when I'm using the database. However, we'll see. Now I'm going to select the complete data. Control Shift down arrow, right arrow. My entire data gets selected. Now what I'm going to do is like I'm going to sort my data. Sorting based on the customer ID. So I'm going to the home menu. At the end, you have something called as editing tab. In editing tab, you have sort here. I'm going to custom sort. I'm going to sort based on customer ID, cell values, smallest to largest. So customer ID, cell values, and smallest to largest. I'm clicking OK. I just click OK, and you can see in the filter button, there will be an arrow mark. Upward arrow mark that represents your data is sorted now. And second thing what you're supposed to do is like always whenever you have a date variable in your database, you should always make sure that it is in the proper format. How to identify it is in the proper format? So you just click this date column, date, and look into the format. It is in general. It should be either in date format or in some other format, but it is in general format. You will have to convert this date into date format. How to convert this? See, there are two ways in doing this. See, Excel is all about shortcuts. You should never use mouse in Excel because that will always increase your fastness and accuracy. Speed and accuracy is the most important factor to become an Excel expert. What I'm going to do is like, there are two ways in which you can do this. What I'm going to see, I'm clicking this general short date. general, and this number formatting short date. So my date complete column is formatted as date, because if you are not formatting this your dates as date, what happens is like when you are making some calculations, that will automatically it will be considered as a numeric value and you will get a inappropriate results. So make sure that your date is formatted as date. Okay, like what is the other way of doing this is shortcuts. I just click column B, press Control 1. Control 1. Control 1 is for formatting cells. Control 1 is for formatting cells. Again, there is a number here, and I'm sorry, again, it's a date here, date, and clicking OK. Both serves the same purpose. So it is better you use the shortcut for your formatting, right? Now, customer ID is set and date is set. Now, all about cohort analysis. Are you able to hear? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now, if you're not able to hear, please let me know. I'll stop immediately. Yes. Now, there are three other options. There are several other options available in your cohort. See, what is it? It is purchase rate. You can see it here. Customer ID, purchase rate, join date, cohorts by months, cohorts, age by days, and age by month. Now, see, the fundamental underlying principle in cohort analysis is like you are going to calculate the purchase rate. How many times the customer has made a repeated purchase. What is the purpose of sorting this customer ID? Now you can see when you sort the customer ID, you can see there are two different IDs here, 1291 and 1291. There are two different IDs here. This customer having an ID 1291 has made double purchase on the same day, 22nd November 2014. And when you scroll down, you can see it here. Record number 28, customer ID 5813 and customer ID 5813. This customer has purchased on 15th July and he has come for a repeated purchase on 17th July. So these are the things that we are going to find out using a purchase rate. When he is purchasing on day one, the purchase rate will be 1, and when he is purchasing for the second time, the purchase rate should be 2. So this is the formula that we are going to input here. So what is the formula here? I'm just giving a simple if condition equal to if. Don't manually open the bracket. The moment you type in the function, you punch in the function if, press tab. The moment you press tab, automatically the function opens a bracket. Now, if A2, cell number A2 is equal to A1. If A2 is equal to A1, then C1 plus 1 or 1. This is the function. Okay. I'll show you how this function works. See, if A2 is equal to A1, A2 is your customer ID. 101 is equal to the previous cell. A1 is not equal to a previous cell. This is 101, and A1 consists of some different factor, that is customer ID. Okay, if A2 is equal to A1, if this condition is true, then add one more to the C1 value. C1 is your purchase rate. Otherwise, leave it as such or place it 1. If A2 is equal to A1, then C1 plus 1, otherwise 1. Yes, so this is the purchase rate. Now what I'm going to do is like I'm going to use this formula for the subsequent cells. Double click, you get filled up. For the complete database, you get the purchase rate that is filled up. Now we can see in a much more. See, I hope the screen is visible. See, this is record number 7 and customer ID is 1291. The first purchase he made on 22nd November. So this is the first time he has made a purchase. So this 1291 is not equal to 1053. So here the purchase rate is 1. And again, the formula checks for the subsequent cell. This 1291 is equal to again 1291. So here C1 plus 1, I mean here it is C6. So C6 plus 1, automatically the purchase rate is added with one more factor, addition factor. Okay, so 1 plus 1, this is the second purchase that he has made, right? Likewise, you will be having lot of other things. See, for example, in 58, the same 28th record, you can see 5813. So the 5813 is the 15th July. He has made a purchase, first time purchase. The purchase rate is 1. When he made a second purchase, so the count is increased to 2. Right? You have a lot of things like this. Lot of we can see what is the maximum amount of purchase made by a customer. I'm activating the filter. Control Shift and L. Automatically it activates the filter, and I'm opening the filter here. You can see the maximum amount of purchase. One customer has made 45 purchases during the study period. He has made the 45 is your number of times he came for a repeated service. So this is a purpose of purchase rate. Now we have completed the purchase rate. Now we'll calculate the joining date. The joining date is very important in cohort analysis. Joining date represents when the customer made a first purchase in the shop. Okay, right? Now I'm going to make the same formula equal to if, there'll be only a couple of formulas, please don't worry about that, equal to if C2, that is purchase rate, is equal to 1. If purchase rate is equal to 1, then if this condition is true, take the transaction date as the joining date. If C2 equal to 1, that is, if the purchase rate is equal to 1, take the transaction date as the joining date. Otherwise, if this condition is false, take the previous cell, that is D1, take the previous cell as your joining date. This is your final thing. I'm pressing enter, and you can see it here. You have made only one purchase. The purchase rate is only 1, and then you can see the C2 is equal to 1. So it has taken the transaction date as your joining date. I'm just double clicking here. I'm just double clicking here, and again, the most important thing that you should do is, like, whenever you have a date field, you should convert that into a date format. I'm clicking the complete column. If you click on D, the complete column gets selected. Go to the formatting, short date. Go to the formatting and short date. Now, next, what I'm going to do is, like, I'm going to understand and analyze this customer belongs to which cohort. Here, cohort represents the month. We are using months as a cohort for classification. How will you use the month as a cohort as a classification? We are going to use a function that is called as text function, equal to text. Text is a function that extracts from your date. Text, press tab, your D2. D2, we are going to extract the month and year from the joining date, comma, open quotes, triple M. We need the format in the form of month and year. So triple M hyphen triple Y, and close the bracket. Text is a function that is used to extract the month and year from a date. If you are giving it as 4Y, you will be getting it as 2014. If you are just giving it as 4M, you will be getting it as August. I am pressing enter. So you get August 2014. For example, I am using the same function, text, MM. It represents the month, the numbers. Just 6 represents the June. Otherwise, I'm using triple M. Press enter, June. And I'm using 4M, another M. I'm adding one more M. You'll be getting incomplete terms. Right? This is how we are using this formula. I'm just double clicking this. So the complete data is filled up here. Again, next, we are going to calculate the age by days. See, the days difference is very, very important, because this is used to understand what is the difference between the first day of purchase and the next day of purchase. When the customer has come for the next day, that is what you are going to calculate. Here we are going to use a very old function that is called as dated if. Dated if is a function that is available in Excel less than before 2013. After 2013, dated if is not available. If you are just typing it as dated if, it will not show anything here. It will not show it as a function. So no issues. You just type dated if, open bracket, open bracket. I'm going to find out the days between the first purchase and the next purchase. Okay, so the first purchase will be using the D2 is your joining date in your business, comma B2 represents your transaction date. So there is a difference between your joining date and the transaction date. Transaction date may be anything, but the joining date is the first date in which the customer has walked into your business. Okay, comma, we need the answer in terms of days. So open quotes, just I'm pressing D and close quotes. Dated if, the joining date, comma, transaction date, comma, I need the answer in terms of days. I'm pressing enter, 0. 0 represents the joining date and transaction date are same here. So I'm going to use this in the subsequent cells. Just double click and you can see it here. And here you can see an interesting information. See, the age by days are 240. You can see it in the cell number 31 and 32. The first transaction date is 27th January 2014, and that the same customer has come for a repeated purchase on 24th September 2014. After 240 days, he came for a repeated purchase. This is the insight that we are going to retrieve from this particular cohort analysis. So this is why we have used this formula. Okay, right? And you can see all the age by days are calculated. This age by days ranges from 0 to 347. You can see a customer has come back to your business after 347 days. So this is the insight that we are going to develop. And last is your age by month. See, age by month, how we are going to age. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And there seems to be a delay in Excel typing, and then the display, it seems. Okay. It is purely due to the network. Now it is. Now you can see the Excel screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now what I'm going to do is, like, I'm going to create age by month. To create age by month, what I did is, like, I have created a table in Excel. This table in Excel is visible. This table in Excel is visible.
Days and periods.
Days and period, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, days. See, I have created a table here. This is if your days are 0, then the period is also 0. If your days are 30 and above, if your customer has come to your business after 30 days, then the period is 1. If your customer has come after 60 days, then your period is 2. Likewise, up to 360 days, I have given a small table. Okay, days and period. What is the purpose of this table that we will look into now? Now I'm going again back to age by month. Now the age by month is visible. Someone please give me the answer. Screen is visible now?
Yes, sir.
Right. Yes. Ashok, you please speak with me. Okay. Right.
Oh.
Now, okay. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to use a formula that is called as VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP is the most advanced and very usable formula in Excel, apart from index and match. See, VLOOKUP has only one technical flaw, like when you are using VLOOKUP in your Excel, it always look from the index to the right of the indexed number. What you can index anything in your database, and VLOOKUP always looks from the right of your indexed column. That is the only technical flaw that the VLOOKUP has. But index and match, it will look into both the ways. Whatever you can index, it will either look on left side or right side. That is the use of index and match function. But for VLOOKUP, it will always looking for the right side. Now, what I'm going to do is like I'm going to create age by month. See, the table I have created is days. If the day is 0, the period is also 0. If the day is 30 and above, then it is 1. Likewise, we are going to segregate here. We are going to allocate then the age by month for this particular database. So equal to VLOOKUP equal to VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP, I'm going to take the age by days. So age by days is F2. Age by days is F2, comma. Now the table array. Table array is the table that I have created for this particular purpose. So the table array is available in the datasheet table. So I'm going into the table and I am selecting the complete table here. The complete table starts from 0 to 12. Now the screen is visible.
Yes, sir, visible, sir.
Yes, right. I'm handling. I have selected the 0 to 12. Okay, and listen. The most important thing in Excel is referencing. There are 3 types of references that is available in Excel. One is relative reference, another one is absolute reference, and third one is mixed references. Now I am going to use here absolute references. Absolute references now very simple, like using of dollar symbol before your rows and columns. The most fundamental thing in any formula in Excel is like you need to know the references. Without knowing references, you cannot be an expert in Excel. I am pressing F4 once. The moment I press F4 once, the complete table gets locked. So the references will not move away from the table even if I am dragging down in my database. So this is the purpose for which I'm using the references. The complete table I am blocking. Okay, so the comma, yes, comma. The data I looking for is available in column 2. The table has 2 columns. One is days, another one is period. So the data what I'm looking for is available in column 2, and I need only approximate match. I need only approximate match. I am pressing tab. True represents approximate match and false represents exact match. See, I need to know if my days are above 30 and less than 60, my age by month should be 1. And if it is above 60 and less than 90, my age by month should be 2. Likewise, I need this particular data. So I'm just closing, I'm pressing enter. My age by days is 0 and my age by month is also 0 because I have not completed 30 days. So my age by month will be 0. I'm just double clicking. When I double click, the entire formula is copied to the subsequent cells. Okay, and you can see down here the 240 days. Now my voice is matched with my content.
Yes, sir.
Right. You can see the 240 days. Age by days is 240 days, and you can see age by month is 8. Okay, age by days is 240 and age by month is 8. Now everything is set for analysis. Now I am going to do an analysis. Okay, we'll go for creating an analysis. Okay, right. I'm going to convert this complete table. I'm going to select it. How I'm going to select the complete table? Just by pressing Control A. The moment you press Control A, automatically what happens is like the entire table gets selected. The entire table gets selected because you don't have a empty row or empty column inside your database. So when you don't have an empty row or empty column, normally the entire data gets selected. I am not converting this into a table format. Instead, what I'm going to do is like I'm going to use this to create a pivot table. Pivot table are my favorites because even for a small business, if you are very comfortable in creating pivot tables and dashboards, that is more than sufficient for you to run the business and get lot of insights from your business data, right? I'm going to insert and pivot table. There is also alternative key, Alt N V. Alt N for north, V for value. Alt N V also will activate the same thing. I'm inserting pivot table in a new worksheet. It is asking whether to insert a pivot table into a new worksheet. I'm clicking OK. Yes, OK. Insert my pivot table in a new worksheet. I'm removing this grid lines. I'm making it to look like a canvas because this is going to be my dashboard. So I'm making it to look it like a canvas. Okay, right? This pivot table consists of 4 quadrants: rows, columns, values, and filters. And what I'm going to do is like just drag joining date to rows. Just drag joining date to rows, and it has automatically clubbed into. It is grouped. I don't want to get grouped. I'm right clicking, ungroup. Right clicking on the pivot table and ungrouping. See, pivot table always displays only the unique values. You have 4 quadrants in pivot table. One is row, one is column, another one is values, and finally filters. We are going to focus only on 3 quadrants here. So for the rows, I'm using the joining date of the customers. The joining date is the first date of purchase that is made by the customer. Okay. Again, I'm going to group this. Right click, group. When you're grouping, it asks for there is a starting date and an ending date. So your starting date is 1/1/2014 and your ending date is 1/1/2015. So we will be using this for creating a pivot table. I'm going to group it as a month. Group it as a month. I'm clicking OK. So my data is grouped as month, and I'm going to drag the customer ID into values. I'm going to drag the customer ID into values, and this gives an inappropriate result because customer ID you cannot sum it up. My voice and my actions are syncing. Someone please answer.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
But
Yes.
there's a little delay, sir.
Yes. It is because of the network. Please bear with me. Yes. See, this is the month-wise data, and this is a sum of customer ID. Sum of customer ID is the wrong way of doing this. Now I'm going to convert this sum into count. How to convert this? See how to do this. Right click inside the data. There will be 2 options. The most powerful options in pivot table is called as summarize values and show values as. These are the 2 things that is used for data crunching in Excel, especially in pivot table. Data crunching. We crunch the data, crunch and munch the data to get desired result. So this summarize values, I'm converting this into count. I'm converting this into count. Now you can see 9,726 records are available in your database, and that is classified into months. See, we have not created any month field in your database. Instead, this particular thing automatically created with the help of pivot tables. Now, what I'm going to do is like I'm going to create a chart here. To create a chart, normally there is an option in Excel. There is a hotkey or shortcut key. When you press F11, in your Excel, what happens is like it automatically create a chart and put it in a separate sheet. But that is not required right now. I don't want a chart that is put it in a separate sheet because we are going to build up a dashboard. So I'm deleting this chart. I'm going to create a chart I'm going to create a chart inside the sheet. Okay, just clicking inside the pivot table, you can see analyze and design menu. These are 2 menus that popped up when you are creating a pivot table, and you can see pivot chart here. I am clicking this pivot chart and it gives you a pivot chart. I am clicking OK. Yes, it is OK here. So I am right clicking, hide all field buttons on chart. I am removing the unnecessary buttons in the chart, and title I am renaming it as total transactions. Total transactions, and I am removing unnecessary fields in my chart. I am adding data labels to my chart. When you click into the chart, you can see a plus symbol next to chart, beside the chart, and you can check data labels, and finally trend line. and finally trend line. Now, this is the first thing in your dashboard that you have created. Now, again, I'm going to create another pivot table. So to create another pivot table, I need not go into the data. I can reuse the pivot table that is already created. So I am copying this and pasting. Copying and pasting is like when you copy to paste, you can use enter in Excel. Okay. Now I'm going to analyze menu. I'm clicking the field list. Now you can see it here. Now what I'm going to do is like, I'm going to drag age by month to column labels. I'm going to drag one more thing. I forgot to do this. After creating this chart, right click, double click on chart, or right click. Format chart area. Right click on the chart, you get format chart area, and then go to size and properties. Go to size and properties, click the properties and click this one. Don't move our size with cells, because when your cell is expanding or contracting, what happens is like the chart will also have the same impact. I want my chart to be stable like this. So don't move our size with cells. I'm doing this. I'm clicking this. I'm clicking close. Now I'm going to create the cohort analysis. Okay. Field list. I'm dragging age by month to column labels. Age by month to column labels, and I am removing the grand total here. Grand total is no meaning here, so I am removing the grand total here, and you can see that's all. We are done with our cohort analysis. This is the cohort analysis. See, are you able to see the screen? Someone please answer.
Yes, sir.
Yes. See, that's all. We have ended up with the cohort analysis, but still more to go. But just you understand and read this data. See, this 0 represents the new registrations or the one-time customers in your business. In the month of January, 573 customers have came into the business, and in the one-time after 30 days, 38 customers have returned to your business, and after 60 days, 31 customers, and after 3 months or 90 days, 39 customers have came back to your business. And you can see after 12 months, after 11 months, you can see 5 customers came back to your business. This is the retention rate, or this is the retention of your customers that we have found out using this cohort analysis. Now we will create a heat map to understand and explore. No, we will create a retention percentage, then we'll go for creating a heat map. First, this is in terms of numbers. I am copying this pivot table and I'm creating a retention percentage of each and every month. Okay, I'm pasting this below. You can see it here. See, there is an option in pivot table quadrant values. I am clicking this values, going to value field settings, and going to show values as. In the show values as, you have a lot of options. I am selecting percentage of. I'm taking age by month and 0. Base item should be 0. Base field should be age by month. Only then you will be getting the retention rate of your customers. Age by month, base field should be age by month, and base item should be 0. I'm clicking OK. And now you can see your report. This is how the retention rate in terms of percentage, in terms of numbers, you can see it here. In terms of percentage, you can see it here. Okay, I'll tidy up the data. I'll tidy up the pivot table a little more. What I'm going to do is like, how I'm going to tidy up. I'm going to analyze, and you can see pivot table options here. And there is an option that is called as for error values. Format for error values. I'm just leaving it as such. I'm clicking OK. The moment I click OK, all the error values gets disappear. Now what I'm going to do is like, I'm going to create a heat map. Okay, how I'm going to create a heat map? I'm selecting all this content. I'm selecting all this content. I'm going to home. Home, you can see conditional formatting. Conditional formatting is available. Conditional formatting is a feature that is available even previous version of Excel. Clicking conditional formatting, going to color scales and first one. Going to color scales and I'm clicking the first one. And I'm doing same thing even for the percentage. So 1 minute, my screen has got stuck. Yes. Now you are able to view the heat map. Ashok?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the retention percentage also. I have selected all these things. Going to home, conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, sorry, color scales, and first thing. Now again, you can see a heat map. Instead of creating a chart, you can go with the heat map. Now, this company or this particular retail store, you can look at it. This company has a very poor rate of retaining the customers. See, out of 100%, only 6.63% of the customers have come back for a repeated purchase after 30 days and 5.4% after 60 days. And this is the percentage that you can see here. This green represents one-time customers or the customers registered or the new customers that we have acquired. Okay. And then here you can see the heat map. Now we'll create a simple chart to understand much better. The final stage, we're going to create a simple chart. How we are going to create a simple chart? Now, see, very simple. I'm going to create cohort in months and percentage of retention. Cohort in months and percentage of retention. These are the two things I am taking as a field value, and I am copying this 0 to, I'm pasting it here 0 to, and again I'm taking the percentage here 100% to 0.06%. I'm copying this data, and percentage of retention I'm pasting it here. Yes, so you have a simple data cohort in months and percentage of retention. I'm going to create a line chart for this. See, I'm selecting this. I'm going to insert recommended charts. Recommended charts, when you're clicking recommended charts, Excel will always recommend some charts, and we are focused only on line charts. Get into the line chart, click the line chart and click OK. See, this is the line chart. Okay. Line chart, since it is in the form of a percentage. Oh, some mistake is there. Now it is all set right. Okay. Now this is the percentage of retention. We'll add some more features to it. Okay, I have deleted the grid lines, and you can see a plus symbol next to the chart. And if you click the plus symbol, add data labels to the chart, and you will understand much better. And this is the percentage of retention that you have created out of your cohort analysis. You can see this is the 100% of customers that you have acquired, and out of which one-time purchases after 30 days altogether for the entire year of data, you have received only 2.84% of the customers to your shop. This is the first insight. You see, you can see it in this particular and the second pivot table in terms of retention also. Out of 100%, out of 8,582 customers in the total year, only 244 customers have come back after 30 days. And after 60 days, 192 customers have come into your business, and 157 and so on. And you also can see 5 customers have come after 11 months, almost 330 days later. You can also see this 5 customers data. How you can see the 5 customers data? Very simple. You go to the pivot table and you click on this 5 customers data. Just double click. The moment you double click, you can see the people who came back to your business after 11 months. These are the customer IDs. The customer IDs are given. This is called as a drill down technique in pivot table. You can identify and you can extract this particular information from your pivot table. Okay, I'm leaving this as such. I'm going to the dashboard sheet and final stage. Finally, I'm going to do one little thing. What I'm going to do is like I'm going to insert a timeline slicer. Slicer is the advanced filtering method that is available in Excel, and there is also something called as additional slicer. In my previous webinar, I taught about how to use slicers to filter your data, slice and dice your data, like how you are going to slice and dice your fruits, and you will be using this slicer to filter your data. But when your data has a date factor, date, you can use the timeline. I'm going to insert this timeline. The timeline, what I'm going to use is like joining date. I'm just clicking joining date and click OK. The moment I click joining date, you can see a timeline is created. Now, say, am I visible now? I mean, my screen is visible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Voice and actions are syncing?
All good, sir.
Okay, right. Thank you. See, this is a slicer. See, everything is set right. Now, what I'm going to do is like, this is a simple dashboard that I have created. Okay, I'm clicking. The year is 2014 and January. I'm clicking just January here. The moment I click January, sorry, one more thing I forgot to do. After creating the slicer, right click on the slicer, report connections, and connect the pivot tables in your, connect all the pivot tables in your slicers. I'm clicking report connections and I'm connecting all the pivot tables and clicking OK. Yes, now. So the slicer is in the format of month. I'm just clicking January. The moment I click January, you can see the changes in the charts and the heat maps. I'm just clicking January. You can see just January, there are 841 customers, out of which 573 are unique customers. And the retention percentage of that particular customer are displayed here. This is January, and for February, it changes. And for March, it changes. And your boss is much more concentrated and much more, he requires data of March and April altogether. No issues, you can extend this slicer like this, March and April, and you can see it here. Yes. Okay. Now, since we are into quarterly reporting, we need the report based on quarters, not based on months. Very simple. We can do this. See, if you want to undo whatever you have done, just click this funnel symbol in your slicer. Automatically, your chart and everything written back to normal. I'm going to convert this into quarterly reporting. How I'm going to convert this into quarterly reporting? There is an all periods here. Here, there is an option called as months. I'm clicking this months. Whenever you have a date field in your Excel, in your database, Excel automatically creates something called as date hierarchy. This date hierarchy will help you to crystallize or filter your data based on years, quarters, months, and days. I'm going to convert this into quarters here. I'm just clicking quarters here. Now you can see 2014, quarter 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2015. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. Suddenly my connection went off. Okay, I'm going to share the screen once again. Please give me a confirmation. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Where you lost the connection? In quarters or months?
Quarterly, sir.
Quarterly. Okay, right. I'm going to redo it once again. See, my data is set to report based on months. So this is month-wise data, month-wise total transactions, and this is the customers we have acquired and retained And this is this slicer will have no impact on this particular chart because this chart is taken from the pivot table. Now I'm going to convert my data into quarterly reporting format. See, very simple, get into the timeline slicer, click this months, and then convert it into quarters. The moment you convert it into quarters, you can see 2014 and 2015 quarters, all 4 quarters are displayed over there. Now I'm going to click quarter one. The moment I click quarter one, you can see my data is synced towards January, February, and March. Okay, the total transactions. The transactions are increasing, but you can see the heat map also. January, February, March in terms of customers, and January, February, March in terms of percentage of retention is displayed here. I'm just clicking quarter two. Quarter two, April, May, June, and quarter three, you can see you have high in quarter three. The August month has given you lot of sales when compared to when compared to previous month, July and September. And then quarter four, you can see. And if you want to see both the quarters, Q3 and Q4, just expand this slider. When you expand this slider, automatically you can see here July and August as a highest. July, August, September up to December, you have a data that is displayed here, and you can see August and December has a highest number of transactions, and that's the end of the dashboard. So you have created this dashboard, and in case if you want to find out who are all the lost customers, there's a version 2 Excel sheet that is available in that I have sent it to you. You can see there I have calculated how to identify the lost customers using condition formatting, because this session is going on, so I would like to close the session. Okay, so that's all with your cohort analysis. See, cohort analysis, very simple. It helps you to understand and identify the percentage of customers you retain and the amount of customers you lost in your business in the due course of business. Okay, 1 minute, I'll share the certificate link. Because many of you will be waiting for the certificate link to be shared. Share the certificate link in the chat box. Please do it. And the last couple of slides, we will complete the presentation here. And you can see it here. Are you able to see my screen? PPT?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now you can see the last one. The references that I took it from these websites, clevertap.com, and the guy I told you, Amy Johnson. Yeah, I hope I'm spelling it right. And then notifyvisitors.com. These are the references I have taken it for this particular webinar. See, Amy Johnson, he created a cohort analysis, and he has just focused on only the pivot tables. I included the heat maps, conditional formatting, and then other things so that it will look much better. And then extended analysis, what you can do it with this particular data now, very simple. Like in case if you are having the products that the customer has purchased during this period, and the amount, the bill value and the products that he has purchased, what we can do is like we can do customer lifetime value analysis and then market basket analysis. I'll show you an example of market basket analysis in Tableau in a moment. Okay, customer lifetime value is like what is the value that the customer has generated for your business. That is called as a customer lifetime value. And market basket analysis that we can do is like what are the products that are bought together by a customer, most frequently bought together products that can be identified using this analysis, market basket analysis. And I have used this cohort analysis in the same webinar. The number of people who have used who have come back to my webinars, I have used this particular analysis to understand. I'll show you a small demo, just 5 minutes I'll complete. Okay, I'll show you a demo. Are you able to see my screen, Ashok?
Yes, sir.
Yes. See, this is the cohort analysis I have done for my webinar series. You can see the first webinar series I have floated on the Google form I floated on 14th May. And out of 173 new customers, 3 people came in for the after couple of days, and 19 people came after 4 days. And this is a simple table that I have created, 0 and 0. For every 2 days, I have created a table 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 16, because we are doing this webinar for almost we have started on 18th, and today is almost 29, almost 12 days we are doing this webinar series. So what I did is, like, I used my real-time data to understand and use this cohort analysis, and this is the result. You can see the result here. Out of 756 unique participants, I have taken only unique all the participants, and few I have left out due to incorrect email IDs. I couldn't clean the data. So what I did is, like, I created a simple dashboard. You can see it here, the count of email ID with the help of, because for the participants, the unique ID that is available is their email ID. So I use the email ID as their unique factor, unique field, and then I download this cohort analysis. And the retention, you can see the retention rate. Out of 100%, the people came back after 2 days is only 6%, and 4 days is 5%, and finally after 6 days is 1.32%. This is the cohort analysis I have done for my webinar series. Okay, right? And the last thing, is, like, I'll show you the demo in Tableau. My screen is visible here, Ashok?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. See, this is a Tableau. Tableau is a business intelligence software that is used for all types of analytics. Of course, a certain amount of up to a certain amount of prediction that you can do it in Tableau, and you can see it here, a simple online retail store data that is available here. And this is a market basket analysis that I have done for you, and that I have done for a retail store. You can see what is the purpose of this analysis. Now, very simple, like, what are all the goods or products that are bought together and that is put it in the basket based on the customer orders, based on the products that each customer has bought in that particular retail store. This market basket analysis is done. You can see the highest amount of products bought together are storage and binders. 1256 orders had storage and binders that are bought together. Next, binders and art. Art is some kind of product that may be sold by the retail store. And then you can see storage and art. 1050 orders have storage and art, and highest amount of orders that are purchased 2 products together is storage and binders. And this is a very important and interesting information insight that will help you to place the products in your store next to each product. Okay, this is how we are going to use the market basket analysis in your this thing, in your retail store. Okay, I'm closing this. Yes. So that's all. So almost I have covered everything. Customer lifetime value and external analysis, like I have done a webinar cohorts, and then customer lifetime value, market basket analysis, and thank you. That's all. If you have any doubts, you can put your doubts in your chat box, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. Thank you, sir. Simon, sir. Thank you, Rajesh, sir. Vicky, thank you. Vicky, is that you from PSG? Yes, right. Thank you. If there is no doubt, and we can close this webinar. What is the different colors that symbolize heat charge? See, very simple. Like the green is the very positive thing. You can see it in your pivot table. Green represents a positive 100%, and red represents the lower percentage. The higher end will be the green. The medium or the moderate will be yellow, and then red represents the lowest value in your total pivot table. That is the use of heat chart. Heat map, not a heat chart. It is heat map that we create using conditional formatting. Right, done. Right, I thank you everyone for attending this webinar on cohort analysis. We'll close the session right now. Thank you one and all. Ashok, please take care.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Thank you.